Talking with Tom. Turn your dial to cable 18. You will see the best in TV. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Sit back and listen. You will hear the best conversation of the year. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom.
Welcome to Talking with Tom. I'm Tom Daisy alongside Ed McCarver.
Hello, Tom. How are you? Good to be back here at our climate-controlled studio here at WPAA. And we have an exciting show tonight.
Yes, we do.
We're going to talk about the Wallingford Community Theater, which is presenting Happy Days, a new musical on August 6th, 7th, and 8th at 7:30 p.m. at Sheehan High School. And it's our pleasure, if I could do the honors here. She's been a guest before. And
no stranger to Talking with Tom.
Yep. We always enjoy having her back. Mary Ellen Kingsland Eccles, welcome.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Tom. It's nice to be back.
And it's nice to have you back. And we're going to talk about the play and
Yes.
have a few yucks this half hour.
I believe the last time Mary Ellen was with us, we were talking about the Sound of Music. Is that correct?
Well, that was a long time ago. We had a great little cast at Holy Trinity, and we all sang. They sang for you. That was great. That was a lot of fun.
How did you get the idea for the Wallingford Center for the Arts?
Well, I probably had the idea when I was at Lyman Hall. Was that 10 years ago? 110 years ago. I just had such a great experience there with, I call them the Dream Team, with Mr. Crump and Mr. Vitale and Marion Lacey and Ronnie Granucci. And we had such a wonderful time putting on musicals there. And it's something I think you can learn performance skills with, and I think it's something you can learn life skills with. So I had got a degree in theater and music with this goal someday in mind, and also certified as a therapist because I think arts help us all. So I definitely started thinking about it then, and over the years it became apparent that there were a lot of wonderful things happening in Wallingford, but I really saw a place to be filled by the theater.
Now, this year the Community Theater is doing Happy Days, the musical. Now, in past seasons, you've done Peter Pan, The Wizard of Oz, and Beauty and the Beast, among others. Who decides on what plays to be performed? Is it your call? Or?
Probably the final call, but we definitely have a team. I've got some really wonderful people that work on staff with me. We have Megan Shortell, who's our producer, choreographer, stage manager. We have Dave Stein, who designs our sets. Dave's also on the board, and we usually start talking, and now with Matthew Bennett, who's joined us, we usually start talking right after I get back from vacation after the show, and we start planning a good year ahead. And now with the Repertory Theater, in the spring, we have a lot going on all the time. So
I understand that Mr. McCarver has
Yes.
a part in the show.
He's wonderful.
The check is in the mail, thank you.
Yeah. One of our actors, Mike Trzynski, who's the son of a very long-time dear friend of mine, we were looking for an Arnold, and he's playing the part of Howard Cunningham. And he said, gee, I have this friend, Ed McCarver, who I think we could get to play the part of Arnold. And I said, Ed McCarver, Goober. Goober and I go way back.
Oh, yes, we do.
To
Yes,
high
we do.
school. And you are so fun to work with. You're a very generous person and bring a wonderful energy.
Hear that, Maureen?
Yeah.
Well, it's very nice, and I was flattered when Michael asked me to do it. And of course, the only experience I've had acting is acting as Tom's court jester on this show, and with all my years in public access. But I have to say, I've been to 2 or 3 weeks of rehearsal, and I am loving it, and I love the group. I know the first couple of days I was there, I was nervous, but I have to credit Matthew Bennett and Michael Trzynski, because I had questions on learning lines.
Yeah.
And Matthew and Michael gave me
Yep.
great directions, so
That's good to
I'm
hear.
very happy about it. And speaking of fine actors, besides Matthew and Michael, we have seated to your left Patsy Weber, who goes by the name of Joe Bankowski, and we want to thank you for joining us tonight, Joe, for a few minutes.
Welcome, Joe.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm very glad to be here.
How did you get involved in the Wallingford Community Theater?
Back in 2008, the first show they were doing was Grease, and I actually had a babysitter at the time. I had two younger brothers who, I could not take care of on my own. So we had a babysitter who was playing the part of Sandy in the show, and I think, 3 weeks until it went up, she comes home and says, "Joe, you do shows, don't you?" And I, agreed. And she said, "We're gonna want you to come into rehearsal with me tonight." And I said, "Okay." And I ended up playing a part, and I've just kind of been with them ever since.
Yeah.
We're talking with Mary Ellen Eccles and Joe Bankowski from the Wallingford Community Theater, presenting Happy Days at Sheehan High School, August 6th, 7th, and 8th at 7:30 p.m. Good seats are still available, from what
Yes,
what
tickets are
I
going well
understand.
now.
So good, and tickets will be available
They will be
at the
available
door.
At the door, and they're also available at Gallagher Travel Shop, Jeremiah's Farm Market,
Okay.
Amici Spa and Salon, and through cast members.
Excellent.
I
So
hope to be in attendance that evening.
I'll sell you a ticket for $100. So
I'm sure you will.
It's less than the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, so you can get there. Go ahead, Tommy. You had a question?
Now, the theater is made up of children, youth, and adults.
Yes.
Do they each have different duties? You want to explain?
In most, if not all, of our productions, it's probably different from a lot of school productions that you would see, in that actors are played by, cast parts, the roles are played by age-appropriate actors. In other words, we have older folks and adults played by older folks and adults, children played by children, teens played by teens. So they all fit in, and my job in the summer is open to anyone who wants to be a part of it, either cast or crew. And if you want to be part and you want to commit to the work, you are more than welcome to join us. And we have a cast of over 100, and with our crew, we have over 200 people involved in the working of this. It's not just Joe and I and Ed pulling this off.
How far in advance do you have planned for a play like this?
We plan a good year. We're already planned through to December 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're very grateful. This past spring, we launched our repertory theater with The Straw, and we were so blessed to have it staged at the new library, Wine Bar and Bistro. Joe Gouveia has been so supportive and very, very generous to us. And after we finished, I said, "So what do you think? Is it too much craziness?" He said, No, this is great. So we hope to be there again next spring. We will be launching a comedy this time, and with the repertory theater. So we're reading some great plays right now, and already begun work on that. So
Now, even though it's called the Wallingford Community Theater,
yes.
You do not have to be a Wallingford resident to be a member of the theater?
No, it's not exclusive to Wallingford. We have a young man who drives down from Manchester to be part of it. We have a lot of Meriden residents, North Haven, Hamden, Cheshire. Yeah, it's open. It's I would say the majority is Wallingford folks, but no, we don't exclude anyone.
So if one were interested in becoming involved, how would they go about that?
We have a website. It's wallingfordcenterforthearts.org, all one word. And we also have a Facebook page, Wallingford Community Theater, at Facebook. So you can find information there, current all the time. And we're always happy to welcome people in. I think we're a very inclusive organization. I believe that everybody has something to bring to the table. So we have little ones, 4 years old, all ages, all backgrounds, all experience levels. Everybody's welcome.
As showtime gets closer, do the nerves set in?
Oh yes, they far closer than now. I have my.
You don't look it.
Oh yeah. What was that saying? Never let them see
See
you
you
sweat.
sweat. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I will. Because I'm the executive and artistic director for the theater. Everything, every little thing, is part, at least in part, my responsibility, and I have tons of wonderful volunteers that help me out, and we couldn't do it without them. But I always tell we have a staff of interns every year, and we've got amazing interns. Joe's an intern with us, and we often will hire. Megan and Matthew are now on staff with us, and they were former interns with us. But yeah, no, we always try to make sure, But I'll still wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about, did I do this? How am I going to figure out that problem? There's a lot of challenges.
Walk us through Performance Day, opening night. How does
night.
that? What's a typical opening? First of all, do you get any sleep the night before?
Yeah, probably because we were all pretty tired by then. So we do. But, by the time opening night comes, it's always amazing to me because I'll walk into the theater and it's the most incredible feeling because you'll see wonderful volunteers of all ages. We have Beck who runs Lighting Board this year for us, and she's been with us for many years. Everybody's doing their job. Everybody's scurrying around. Front of house is run by an incredible guy, Paul Bankowski, and his wife's handling tickets, and Tara Blumenstock is in the costume shop running costumes, and Dave Stein and Kat Hannafay are backstage getting everything ready, with sets, and I'm sitting there going, there's nothing for me to do. They're doing it. It's incredible. I almost feel guilty.
Again, we're talking with Mary Ellen Eccles, the Executive Director and founder of the Wallingford Center for the Arts and the Wallingford Community Theater, presenting Happy Days, the musical, at Sheehan High School on August 6th, 7th, and 8th at 7:30 p.m. And with her is Joe Bankowski, one of the actors. He plays Potsy Weber. Joe, I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite play or favorite role that you have been in? And I'll amend that to say, do you have a role that you want to play that you're looking forward to?
Well, I read Our Town in my sophomore year English class, and I was just kind of always drawn to it. I've never really read anything beyond that I wanted to be in more than Our Town. It's cute, it's fun. Gordon Wilder did a fantastic job. But my favorite role that I played was probably with the Wallingford Community Theater, doing The Music Man. And I got to play Marcellus Washburn, and it was just an all-around good time because I had a good friend of mine, Francis McLaughlin, playing the lead there, and we bounced off of each other, and we just had an excellent time, and I think everybody got to feed off of that, and we fed off of it even more, and we helped each other be better, and I just can't think of a role I'd want to reprise more than that with him at my side.
And I think that energy that he brings to everything he does. When we're rehearsing a scene and Joe walks into the scene, suddenly it really comes alive. Joe is an incredible young actor. He's a great human being, and he brings a beautiful energy to the stage that we're very grateful for.
Thank you. I'm glad to bring it.
And Our Town's a great play. I think the beauty of that is everybody thinks Thornton Wilder was talking about their town.
Yeah,
and isn't that the genius of it?
It's simple enough to be applied anywhere, and I think that's the beauty of it. Is what it is.
And two of our young actresses, Hannah and Erica Stein, were actually in the Longworth production recently.
Really?
Yes, I was very thankful that the family sent me tickets, and Steve and I went down to Longworth to see them, and yep, they were in that play, so it was awesome to see that. Great cast.
I'd like to ask Joe, if I could, what's the greatest piece of advice that anyone has ever given you?
Oh boy.
Wow.
About the theater you're talking
Yeah.
I had, I think it might have been Francis. It might not have been, but I'm pretty sure it was Francis that just asked me, in what ways are you and your character similar? In what ways are you and your character different? What are qualities that you need to fake in order to play your character, really? Or what qualities do you have that your character doesn't, that you can find a way to sneak in and just really connect? Because if you can't find a way to be yourself when you're trying to be someone else, then you're not going to have fun, and if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
And it won't be as genuine.
Right.
Good advice. Well done, Francis.
We were at rehearsal one night, Mary Ellen, and you made a comment that stuck with me, and I wanted to ask you about it because I think it talks about the theater. So,
Don't put her on the spot.
I think you were quoted as saying, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
Wallingford Community Theater, where all the drama is on the stage only. Can
Oh.
you talk a bit about how there's a lack of, there aren't any ego problems, or sometimes when you
I
think...
see what you're saying.
theater
I
group.
think actually I joke every year about having a T-shirt collection that I'm going to create.
Oh, yeah.
With my interns. And one of them, the front of it says Wallingford Community Theater, and the back says all the drama's not on the stage.
I had it backwards.
Not on the stage. But you're absolutely right. One of the premises that I created and really strive to foster in the theater is excellence without arrogance. I've been very blessed to meet some incredible, talented human beings in my life, and one of the things, Margaret Mead spoke at my sister's graduation, Beverly Sills I was blessed to meet, and quite a few others, but it was like the thing that really struck me about them is how down to earth and humble they were, and I thought that was beautiful. And I was very young when I had that experience, and I remember thinking, that's how it should be. That's the right way to use the gifts that God's giving you, is to use them with humility, so that, we don't, I try to find gentle ways to say, there are no divas on the stage. There are no stars. We're a team. We're an ensemble. Everybody's important. Everybody has something to bring to the table. So that's very close to my heart, and it's probably one of the most important things about our theater that's probably very different. There are no cliques. There better not be any backstabbing or gossiping.
Like here.
Yeah,
Like
I know. Because I'll tell you, I cut that off. I cut that off very, very quickly, and try to straighten that person right out.
Is that a misconception about the theater? Mary, I'll ask you, Joe, too. Have you been to different theater groups where
Oh, yeah.
sometimes there are...
I've been on the stage since I was 3, and I've danced for 16 of those. I've been singing since I was about 13, and absolutely, it's just like anywhere else in the world. There's kind, generous people, and then there are people who are insecure and don't have a sense of confidence about themselves or trust, and those are usually the people who struggle, and that's where you can sometimes run into problems. It's not, I don't think anybody sets out to be mean or hurtful, but it happens, and part of my job is to make sure that we are friendly and welcoming and supportive. And one of the best things I hear each year from the new members, we have a lot of new adults since the straw, and the women were talking with me, and they said, boy, I was nervous coming. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be like a lot of other places, but boy, the ones who've been here for a long time came up to me to make sure I knew how things worked and not to worry, and we do have mentoring programs all the way down. I think on our Facebook we've got a beautiful young girl who was mentoring and helping our youngest, who's 4. And I took pictures of it because it was just so beautiful, and it really embodied the spirit of the kind of arts I wanted to bring to the community, you know. So I do. I believe in excellence without arrogance. There's absolutely no need for the arrogance or the exclusivity. The arts are for everyone.
Again, we're talking to Mary Ellen Eccles from the Wallingford Community Theater, presenting Happy Days on August 6th, 7th, and 8th at 7:30 p.m. at Sheehan High School. Tommy?
Now you just actually are in Sheehan now,
Yes.
so you're doing your rehearsals right now at Sheehan.
Yes.
What is a typical rehearsal like?
Well, it can be pretty crazy. I mean, last night was the first night the cast was on the stage, and usually the chorus is waiting around for their time to come back on stage, and the leads are busy all the time. But last night it was the reverse, because I really love to give as many people as I can lots of great stage business to do. So I told the leads to go have a seat in the auditorium, and we created lots of fun activities so we have an exciting opening kind of thing. And that takes time, but I love doing it, and it's exciting to see it fall together.
You talked a bit before about sometimes some ego problems, some diva problems, and I'm reminded of when my son played Little League Baseball, problems with the parents. Now, you have young actors and actresses. Do you have problems with the parents, like, and I'm thinking of Walter Matthau in the Bad News Bears, like Mr. Buttermaker did, and did you, do you have a problem with a parent who would say, why didn't my kid get the lead, or my kid get the song, and how do you deal with that?
Well, they don't come up to me directly. Sometimes it happens. It's not very often. They'll kind of murmur among themselves, and usually one of my interns hears it. And but it's kind of like it's usually perhaps some of the newer folks who are used to maybe the way some other places might work, where the same people get the leads all the time, and I don't do that. I like to. It's really exciting to give a new person at any age a chance to kind of discover what they have. I think that's another function that we have. And it's not that we're all going to become Broadway stars, but I think the confidence and the learning to work as a team and to cooperate, not feeling entitled to everything but working for it, I think those are great life lessons we all can learn. And I sure learn a lot every single year. Sometimes it's, boy, that was great, and sometimes I'll never do that again.
I wanted to ask Joe, what's the best thing about being in the theater, being in the play? And after that answer, what's the worst?
I figured you were going to ask that.
One of my, a hobby of mine I would consider is just kind of people watching. So one of the things I really, really enjoy about the theater is I like to watch kids open up and kind of discover themselves more, because that's exactly what the theater did for me. Every now and then you'll come across a kid who is, insecure or just, shy, not the most outgoing person, and it's fun. It really is fun to watch them for 2 or 3 hours just pretend to be someone they're not, and take some liberties that maybe they wouldn't have if it was their name, and say to themselves, why don't I do this more often? I had fun just now. Why don't I try that with my life instead of just here? And I like just seeing people, discover themselves like that.
Yeah. Joe's amazing with the kids. You're an education major, yes?
Yes.
And I want him for a teacher. He's going to be a great teacher. You really are. We had a great thing where we had to introduce the kids to yo-yo, toys that kids would play with in the 50s that weren't around because there were no handheld devices. There were, you just went out in your backyard, you found a stick and you played, and it was so funny watching them learn how to skip rope. They knew how to blow bubbles. They wondered what the pinwheel was for, and the yo-yos totally had the and each of my interns had a different section, and Joe took the yo-yos, but he was so fun with all of the kids, and he's just wonderful. So you're going to be a great teacher.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You sure will. Yeah, and you do. He always does his best with everything.
And have you ever been on the stage and said, Has there been a time when you thought, well, yeah, I really don't want to be here tonight? Is there a down? I mean, we've all, believe there are days Tommy and I don't want to be here sometimes,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I would say never, ever in a performance. Maybe every now and then in a rehearsal, but never in a performance. Just because everyone's there and everyone's put so much work into this, and it's wonderful getting like the feedback from the audience. And I will leave a show, and I'll want to go back every single time. You know, sometimes in the beginning when you're just starting up, it's a little bit shakier, for me at least. But once you really get into it, as soon as everyone knows what they're doing, I definitely want to be there. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
We've got just a couple of minutes left here. Again, the Wallingford Community Theater presents Happy Days, August 6th, 7th, and 8th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. at Sheehan High School. Someone goes to the play on one of those 3 nights, enjoys the play,
Yes.
and says, you know what, next year I don't want to be sitting here. I want to be in the chorus.
I want to be up there.
I want to be I want to be a lead. Give us some free advice. What do they do?
Free advice. Well, you come to auditions. Those are always listed there, and everybody gets in. We don't cut from those auditions in the summer, so. And what we try to do is find the best place for everybody.
The next Ed McCarver?
Please. I don't like the last Ed McCarver.
I'm sure Maureen will.
Yes. So, but, well, all right. Well, I think we've got all the information here. Again, August 6th, 7th, and 8th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
7:30, right?
7:30 p.m. start. Seats are still available.
I have my own, so.
Okay, well, all right, very good. So, touche. I mean, so we want to thank you for coming
Thank you,
out.
Mary Ellen. It was a
Joe,
pleasure
thank
once
you.
again.
Thank you. So.
Joe,
It's nice meeting you guys.
And Tom, until next time.
we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Turn your dial to cable 18. You will see the best in TV. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Sit back and listen. You will hear the best conversation of the year. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom.